Now, Matt, you had talked about why you decided to go with 10-year data because you had more complete data. Well, I looked at both the original 3-year report and the new report we got, and I noticed you're using a different area. The report in the draft environmental document conforms to the project area, and Caltrans uses post miles to calculate that. It goes from post miles 7.2 to 8.9. All of the Caltrans documents talk about this project stretching from 7.2 to 8.9. So I'm curious why you stretched it out to 7.0 to 9.0. And I also want to point out that those 2 fatalities are outside the project area but fall into this newly defined area that they used for the 10-year data. So I'd like to find out.
The environmental document does look and provide information from post mile 7.2 to 8.9. We provided information from post mile 7.0 to 9.0. So that's 0.2 of a mile to the south and 0.1 of a mile to the north. If you look at those locations, it does not substantially change the overall collision rate. You are right that the 2 fatalities that were recorded in the 10-year period were at post mile 7.0 and 7.1. Those were both in the northbound direction, and based on an evaluation of the data, northbound traffic queues have extended far south of that area for a number of years. So there is afternoon congestion, stop and go conditions that do extend beyond the project area between post mile 7.2 and 8.9. So we took a slightly different extents in the 10-year collision history, but if you look at those fringes and the number of collisions that were recorded in those other areas, that does not change the overall conclusions. Caltrans did provide some updated information that was shared and shared with the project team earlier. They came to the exact same conclusions that we came to, looking at the 7.2 to 8.9 extents.
Okay, I have a follow-up then. You said that the fatalities happen in the southern part of this area that we're talking about, where sometimes backups happen and rear-end collisions can occur or other types of collisions due to the congestion. So are you saying these 2 fatalities are related to the freeway conditions, the traffic conditions that we see in this corridor, or are they not related?
I don't have specific information on the causes of those
okay, well fatalities. I do. I went to our library and I pulled up the Marine IJ reports on both of these accidents. The accident in 2005, in fact, let me just read this. The driver was traveling in the number 4 lane with his hazard lights on, not very fast, and just went off the roadway and collided with a tree. California Highway Patrol Officer Juan Leon said, "We are not sure if he had a heart attack or other medical condition." So it doesn't strike me that freeway conditions were in play in this accident. And then the other fatality was in 2001. Let me just read the first part of it. An 84-year-old man choking on a donut in traffic slammed into the back of another car. Okay? Both of these appear to have been the result of medical conditions and in no way related to freeway conditions in this corridor. And not only that, but you didn't disclose to the TAM board, to any members of the public at the January 29th public hearing, or tonight, that you had changed the parameters of these reports, changed the area that was evaluated. So I'm just wondering if you can respond or if you would care to pass.
Yeah, we recognize your comment.
Thank you. Well, I have another comment. I'd like to ask our town manager to please get ready to put up my PowerPoint. Tan has thoughtfully given each council member some materials in this binder, so I'd like to ask each of you council members to turn to tab number 3, please. It's the 10-year collision data. This information was emailed to each council member on Saturday, so just 3 days ago, so I've really only been looking at this for 3 days. But if you look at the very first page of data, I will hold it up so the council members know what I'm talking about. The very first page of the little teeny tiny type. I'm sorry, not the first page. Well, let's start at the first page. The very first record you will see is record ID number 1. Okay? It goes in sequential order. The very last page of this report ends at 1,195. Okay? This corresponds with the collision data report we were given, and I will hold it up so you know which one I'm talking about. Right here. Okay? It talks about 1,195 collisions. It was also the one, the same number was illustrated on a PowerPoint. Okay, so now as you're looking through the data, please look at the page with record starting 865. I know it's tiny print, forgive me. It appears that there are San Francisco collisions that are included in this report. I took a close-up copy of some of this data from this particular report. If you would launch it.
Now, which one?
Oh, it's highlighted. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the database. It's the PowerPoint. Joint Council at the bottom.
That's theirs.
Oh.
This got juggled.
Oh, maybe the second.
Yep. Sorry about this.
Try the PowerPoint over there by iTunes.
That's
Okay, here. I'm glad I brought my thumb drive. Another copy, you're all in one. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Okay. Tap it? This is it. You'll see that the second record on this page lists Chrissy Field. So I got kind of curious about that. And I looked at the post mile. So again, the Chrissy Field is listed as a secondary road. So it's Route 101, Chrissy Field. And then all the way to the right for post mile is 8.51. Any chance we can get that full screen?
that is pretty much as good as you can get.
Don't worry about it. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, please. It turns out that Caltrans has a very handy Caltrans Google Earth program where you can look up post miles. So I looked up where post mile 8.51 in Marin County is. And it's up, near Sir Francis Drake Boulevard, almost, up by the creek. There's no Chrissy Field there. So if you go to the next slide, I looked up post mile 8.51 in San Francisco, and it's by Chrissy Field. Okay. I went through this report, all 1,195 records. I did not have it in Excel format. I didn't have it in Excel format, I only had an image. So I had to do old school with a ruler and a highlighter. But I went through and I highlighted, I don't know if you can see the blue. These are all collisions that happen in San Francisco. They have street names like Lombard, Lion, Golden Gate Toll Plaza, Doyle Drive, Marina. Okay. I counted over 150 collisions from San Francisco that were included in this data. I believe this throws into question all of the safety information we can get in that site. I would hope that we could get some updated data. I don't know if any of you care to respond, but I sure would like to get some correct data.
We would be glad to look further into this and bring back correct data.
Thank you.